keep plugging away. I've had to restart a couple times with starting real estate was really hard for me. I was working half days, 12 hours, 5, 6, 7 days a week, half the day. And it wore me out. And then I did something else and did something else. And now I'm back here. I learned more from that $10 an hour job. And more than anything, it made me more money because I met a ton of good people that wanted to work with and align with. So if you align yourself with the right people, other people will see that. And that's been my secret sauce is just keep doing the right thing and keep plugging away.
From cornfields to high-rises, office to industrial, houses to hotels, and every other asset class in real estate, we cover the people, the projects, and the profit. Welcome to the Investing in Iowa show. This show is for go-doers, action takers, and business owners. It's for people like you who are sick of Uncle Sam taking a huge bite of your apple. If you're looking to get ahead of what's taking place in Iowa, learn who is doing what, and how you can get in on the action, you're in the right place. Hosted by Neil Timmins, an Iowa native who has been involved in over $300 million in real estate right here in Iowa. Recording in studio from West Des Moines. Here's your host, Neil Timmins.
I've got Jesse Bunney here on the show. Jesse, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm excited you're here. Say, for the audience to say, who are you, where you're from, what do you do?
Jesse Bunney. I'm from a small town in Arizona called Miami, Arizona. And I met my lovely wife living in Scottsdale and moved here in 2010. I was at CBRE for about 7 years, CBRE Hubble as a commercial real estate agent. And one of my largest clients, Lawmark Capital, needed an asset manager, someone to come in and kind of run the money, run the buildings, run the assets as if they were, professionally managed and maintained. So that's what they hired me for 8 years ago to come on staff, and I've been the general manager ever since.
What did you do in Arizona before moving here?
It's a great question. So I started in 2003 in commercial real estate. I was an office tenant rep agent for Cressa Partners, which is an international company, and I worked under Gary Gregg and Jonathan Kaiser, who were partners in that. And Gary's actually the international CEO of Cressa Partners now. So he moved up the rung pretty heavily. Then I left and I struck out on my own and started a mountain bike company. Lost all the money I made in real estate.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was fun. Had a lot of fun.
You must have had can I assume you had a passion for mountain bike? It wasn't just an opportunity.
It was both. I love mountain biking, but I was just tired of the rat race of Phoenix. It was a really tough real estate market out there. Very, very cutthroat. Yeah. There were some partnerships I wasn't loving. Looking at the people that I was trying to be like, I didn't like what they were doing. Yeah. And I thought, that's not me. I was a little young and naive, thought I could make it on my own, and had a buddy that is a Canadian. And we had an opportunity with a brand that was very popular in Canada. You couldn't get it in the US. So we started an import company and just kind of amalgamated some different Canadian brands that were super high end, popular, and tried to make a run for it in the US. And we just didn't have the capital or the marketing. 2007, 8, 9 hit. You don't make it through those times when you're a fledgling mountain bike company.
So what prompted the move to Iowa?
My wife's originally from Pella, and she's much better looking and way smarter, just a better human than I am. So I decided that we should probably uproot, come here, and got a job with Kyle Gamble at CBRE Hubble. And I think I started in November of 2010. The first month I walked into his office, I said, well, I got to make it or break it. My wife's pregnant. He said, oh, that's, congratulations. Yeah. And then another month later, I said, well, I really have to make it. She's having twins. So he looked at me, he goes, you're still not getting a draw. This is back when no one was getting draws. I said, no, I'm good. I don't think he believed I was going to make it, but if you ask him, I'm sure he had confidence. But I don't have quit in me. So I just buckled down. And in fact, the building you're in is one of my first listings with the Colby family, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, we connected the other day and chatted, reminisced about that. And certainly as you walk in the front door, you go, oh, this place looks a little different. I remember being here.
Yeah.
Back. Yeah. All right. So November of 2010, not the easiest time in the world to start. But
I was at the floor. It only went up.
Yeah, exactly.
I cut my teeth on the Colby portfolio. They made some changes. And in 2015, we parted ways. And that's when I actually was introduced to Lawmark. I was walking by John Bergman's office. John's just an absolute titan of our industry here. And I said, John, I need a client. He said, why don't you call the Canadians? That's all the information he gave. So I went to Tim Sharp and Linda Gibbs and said, hey guys, do you have these Canadians that you sold the Des Moines partnership building to? It was sold through auction.com. Mark, the co-owner of Lawmark, so it's Lawrence and Mark was part owners of auction.com. So he saw that building go through. He mentioned it to Lawrence in passing. Lawrence calls him the next day and says, okay, we bought the building. And Mark said, what do you mean we bought the building? He goes, the one in Des Moines. He's like, I've never been in Des Moines. I've seen this property. What do you mean? He goes, yeah, I bought it. Let's go figure it out. That's how Lawmark Capital was created. And they bought the Dan Stambro Keck City Center out of receivership.
Oh, yeah.
When Dan was going through his little shake up there. And then we bought the financial center, I want to say 2013. And then we bought a property in Kansas City. Well, then the Yonkers fire happened and the Des Moines Partnership building completely flooded. So after a $12 million, $13 million renovation, they hired me to come in as their realtor at CBRE. So that was kind of how I got connected. And I had to lease the food court, all of the retail. The Des Moines Partnership came back, which was a big win. So we filled the building. And then shortly thereafter, we filled the Keck City Center with the ROG legal insurance company. And we were doing deals at the financial center. And they said, man, we really love working with you. Will you come and help us get to the next level?
And so at that point, you came in-house.
Came in-house. It would have been 2017.
Okay, so pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
And all the holdings are downtown.
All of them except for one in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So we have about 1,600 parking stalls through 3 different properties, yep. And then a small little lot right across the street from the financial center.
Yeah.
About 1 million square feet total.
Okay. So walk me through, if you go on full-time, COVID eventually hits, but maybe if there's anything in the interim there.
Yeah, really, that's a good point. Segue to how we got started at the Mezzo and Walnut projects. I'll go back. So 2018, it's maybe December. I get a call from George Hartney at Wells Fargo, who, if you know that company, he ran their real estate for a lot of years. He said, hey, we need to separate retail from office. So we separated the contacts, and he goes, by the way, we don't need tower space anymore. We're amalgamating all of our tower space into our downtown property, but we'd like to keep the bank branch in the portfolio with you guys. They had just invested $3 or $4 million to make it that museum that it was, and had the stagecoach and the governors there, all that fun stuff.
Right.
Well, I had a conversation with Mark, the CEO of Lawmark. I said, Mark, here's what they want to do. And he's got a pretty forward-thinking entrepreneurial mind. He said, I don't want to ruin this, but I think we have to do something different. I agreed. I said, yeah, if you want to make this building something competitive, we have to shift gears. So one of the hardest decisions we made, to give Mark all the credit there, he pulled the plug and said, no, we don't want to renew unless you're at a $30 rate, because that's primo space. And of course, Wells Fargo was like, no, we're paying, $11 full service gross. Why would we pay 30? Right. So they made a good choice. They left, and their last day was December 31st of 2019. So 2020 hits. We're planning a hotel. We go to the city in June. Well, what happened between January and June is, COVID-19.
Right.
So St. Patrick's Day hits. We kind of hit deer in the headlights. Could have really used that bank branch paying rent at that time, obviously. Yeah. So, but hindsight's 2020. We had a development deal done with the city via Jake Christensen was kind of navigating that for us. He was a great guy, a great developer. May have had him on the show. If not, you should have him on the show. He's awesome.
We'll get him on.
Yeah.
He's a name we should.
Yeah. He's good. Anyway, he helped us navigate that, but we really stepped back and said, okay, well, what do we do now? Everything's shut down. So fast forward a couple years, we met with partners. We tried to pull the hotel off. We had Marriott in town. They were all on it. We had an autograph flag, essentially just booked for us, met with all the right operators. The numbers just did not work for us at the time. So we decided to shift gears to apartments. And so Mark, the CEO, owns his own personal apartments in Canada. He buys historic rehabs, turns them into apartments. So he kind of had that wealth of knowledge. He wasn't familiar with the U.S. and our market in that regard. So he kept Jake involved, just kind of paid him by the hour, and put together a really killer team of slingshot architecture. Josh Williams has been the lead, and then Dan Drenell kind of by his side. We've got a great team there. And then we hired KED Bluestone to do all of our MEP. So what we came up with was a hard bid offering. So we went with almost $2 million in R&D and research and all that to just get the property to where it was fully turnkey ready to be bid. And then we hired Matt Stentz to come in, who ran Rochon Company for years, sold it, retired, started doing owner's rep for Smash Park. We decided he was a good fit. Hired him to come on and be our owner's rep. And so he helped navigate the hard bid process. We had 6 GCs bid it, and then Hanson Company won the bid ultimately.
Fast forward then. Yeah, on the project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 2024
that
we hired Hanson, November. March of 25, so just this year, we started swinging hammers. Just the other day, we finished demo. So with 4 or 5 month demo process, trying to keep a building operating with office tenants on the top that are professional services. These are, top lawyers, CPA firms, all that. It's been hard. Ultimately, I was, since 2019, 18, talking to clients. We actually leased 5,000 square feet of net new office in our building during COVID, which was unheard of, especially downtown.
That's right.
So basically, if a deal came by our door, we grabbed it. We landed Iowa Legal Aid. We landed Meyer Stauffer, which is CBiz regionally. I Bailey had done some expansion, just some small tenants. So we were really feeling bullish on downtown from a leasing standpoint in office. We basically filled all the top floors with these tenants before we even swung a hammer. I think that speaks to, in Des Moines, if you're doing something, people want to be a part of it. So ultimately, we're looking at the project as a highly amenitized office building, working with the same type of a end user being the residential and retail. So we kind of put all three together. We already have the parking. We had Walgreens at the time. And we said, this is an investment that any REIT or anyone would really come in and go, wow, this is a well done building. Finished construction, demolition. And I'll back up a little bit. When we were planning this, Walgreens actually went through their whole downsizing of urban stores. And so we had kind of planned the whole first floor around having this convenience store on site, which we thought was a huge amenity. Well, they came to us and they've actually bought out of their lease. They gave us a full check, more than what they owed us, because they had to look at the CAMs and the taxes and all that, what would go up over the next 4 years. So they cut us a check. And then the next week, we signed a long-term lease with a data center. It was the deal of the century. I've never been part of such a fun deal to get a full buyout from a tenant, and then the next week sign a 13-year lease with a data center. Triple A credit. They're going to spend, an insane amount of money on my building. And they actually just expanded by another 17,000 feet. So they're going to be 30,000 feet. They're taking the entire Walgreens building, minus a little sliver of retail on the front that the city wanted us to engage Walnut. So we kept, 2,500 feet of retail. The rest will be just data center. So it was a really fun project to work on from that standpoint, just being the leasing guy. And it took me almost 4 years to work on that data center deal. And the day we signed it, he assigned it to an international, basically kind of a REIT. So I assigned local credit and I got international credit. That never happens, right? So, and then they expanded on that. So it's been just an absolute hoot to have that. And they're all good people. They're working with us on our development and kind of navigating their development at the same time.
How do you navigate all the moving pieces that go into your day-to-day?
I have no idea.
Where does that come from? Because there's a lot that goes into this to be able to get this thing to go. And
I don't sleep a lot at night. I wake up 4 a.m. Mine doesn't shut off. But I think what I could liken it to is you're trying to build a puzzle, but you don't know what the picture is going to look like really. You don't know where the pieces are. So when a piece comes in, you just guesstimate where it goes. You put it there and you have all of these 2,000 pieces all going on at the same time. And your biggest resources is just move those pieces one at a time. So it's like playing 3D chess. It's like playing, whatever you can think of and putting this together and just doing the right step every step of the way. You don't have to have a good memory if you're honest and you put your best foot forward and you negotiate from a place of empathy for the tenant and for trying to make that win-win for both parties. That has been the number one secret sauce of Lawmark in general. And that's why I aligned with them, is because that's how they were doing business when I worked with them as their broker. And they would do what I asked, which doesn't always happen. A lot of times the broker has ideas, and then the landlord says, yeah, cool, we're not doing it. They did all the things that I thought they should do, and they were successful because of it. So that's why we paired together, and that's why we've continued to be a good marriage, because anytime I go to Mark with a question or whatever, he says, yeah, well, what's the right thing to do? Let's do that if we can afford it. And so when you're doing that every step of the way, I had to rebuild my company. Because remember, if you go back to the first part of our conversation, they started just buying a building. There was no plan. They were going to buy buildings and flip them. Well, here we are 10, 12 years later. We never had a plan for creating a real estate company. We owned and managed. So I was tasked with, okay, well, if we have to hold this product for the next 5 to 7 years at minimum for the financial center with these tax credits, and we can get into that, we had to create a true process-based real estate company. So that's what I've been working on with a consultant. And if you ask me how I do it, I hire really, really good people. And so I've got a guy out of Florida that's helping me take it from a mom and pop knee-jerk reaction type of a company to more of a methodical, process-based. If if it's not measurable, you got to measure everything. You have to be able to test it. If you can't inspect it, you can't expect type of mentality. So building that company, adding a real estate division that is for residential at the same time, and trying to develop a project has been, it's insane. So I hired Headlight Strategies to help me with kind of our sales forward approach. Terry and Andy are great consultants. They've helped a lot of local companies, a lot of nonprofits. They're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they love it, and they're really selective on who they work with. Fortunately for me, they wanted to get into this. They both have kind of a background in real estate and sales and all that. And so I selected them, and just trying to surround myself with experts in their particular industry and then lean on them to guide me through each individual path, so that when all the paths come together, if you're doing the right thing with every path at the same time, at some point, they're going to come together and mesh, is my hope. I don't know. We'll see.
Owning real estate versus owning a real estate company are two completely different things. It's no different than owning any business. It just happens to be in the real estate world. But all the things that go into it, the people, the processes.
Absolutely.
The strategy.
Well, if you look at each individual building, they are a business.
Yes.
A building, and most people don't look at it that way. And it was one of my consultants, Michael Melanies, helped me understand that. He asked a lot of good questions, and he said, well, you working on a business or a building? And we kind of at the same time go, what's the same thing? Each individual building is a business. And then those can, in your portfolio, you have a bunch of mini businesses, and really each individual tenant you're in business with.
Yep.
Because as you know, if they're not paying their rent, you're not paying your mortgage.
That's right.
I think Richard Hurd says, always got that wolf at the door. It's got to eat. It's hungry. No matter what. If your tenant doesn't pay, you still have to pay the piper. And, no true words have been spoken that at the end of the day, your taxes are due, your insurance. And if your tenants aren't paying, you still got to cut the check. It's hard.
Hey, Iowa investors. This is Ava Bautkamp, Chief of Staff at Legacy Impact Investors. Have you thought about adding real estate to your portfolio but don't have the time or desire to play landlord? At Legacy Impact Investors, we do the heavy lifting. Our team finds the deals, manages the properties, and handles all the day-to-day operations. Our select group of qualified investors co-invest with us, gaining ownership equity without opening a tenant email or responding to a maintenance call. They just share in the income, appreciation, and tax benefits. These opportunities aren't for everyone. They are for qualified, accredited investors only. If you want to learn more, please visit legacyimpactinvestors.com to apply.
Talk a little about the ability to screen tenants. How do you go through that process? How do you underwrite a tenant? How are you working to get an understanding that the credit quality of a tenant?
Wow, that's tough. I think it depends on the building. And what I've always said is the larger tenants, they give you your cap rate, they give you your stability, but the cash flow comes from those smaller tenants, right? You give up some rate or whatever by landing those larger long-term deals. But the bread and butter can really be those small mom and pop type tenants. So you have to really balance. I think like anything in any portfolio, in any healthy business, you have your long-term steady Eddie, keeps your lights on. You have the ones that are maybe the month-to-month type of guys that kind of maybe in the middle. Then you got your really short-term transactions, and you charge them more. And so I have found that if you listen to the customer, they'll tell you what they want and what they need. And you just have to make sure you fit them into your portfolio in the proper manner and hedge your bets, because you can get more margin out of those tenants, but they're a lot riskier. And, they're a lot more fun usually. You're getting to meet the decision maker that's signing the lease. And that's what I really have enjoyed most about being an asset manager and a general manager is getting to know the individuals. And it's probably been the hardest part for me too, because to watch those individuals have to go through hard times with COVID, or even really our development, it's causing noise and dust and inconveniences, to watch them get upset. And I know I caused that, but I also know, like a parent, when you're disciplining your kids or when you're doing the right thing, sometimes there's that short-term pain for that long-term gain. And when our product is finished, I know every one of them are going to be proud to be in that building, and they're going to look back and go, yeah, that was hard, but we're looking at the finished product here, and we're at the pool, we're drinking from the coffee shop, eating at the restaurant, working out in the gym, repairing your bike, whatever amenity you want to use, or all of them, they're going to appreciate what we did. At the same time, we did all of our external caulking on the building. The building originally was in a lawsuit because after they finished developing it, the caulking all failed. And the type of product it was maybe a 5-year, 10-year caulk. Well, now we have 20-year caulking. So we're redoing a lot of that right now. The historic piece was keeping the outside international style. And so we had to go through and remove all of this tape that was on the building. And really look sleek and modern now. So a lot of those pieces are being done right now, but it's noisy. So you're trying to be on a call or doing a podcast, right, and someone's outside grinding on your aluminum fin outside. It's loud. And so we've had to pay extra to have those loud things done before and after hours. And our tenants have been pretty reasonable with us on what those hours are and how we do it. So we're all kind of living together to make it work.
How many floors is it?
It's a 25-story tower, and then we have 2 floors of sub-basement. So it's 27 stories really. And then you have 18 on down are being converted minus floor 16. Floor 16 has a long-term tenant on it. And so we are doing 17 floors of residential. It's a long answer for a short question.
No, that's that was good because I was going to follow up a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
To understand that. I can imagine that 16th floor is going to get the bulk of the noise. They got it on both sides. So.
Did they call you earlier? Did you look at my email from the lawyer earlier? What'd you say?
You already know.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that is they had already known, and they had an option in their lease to renew. Yeah. And I told them, hey, I'd be okay with you guys leaving because I love you as a tenant, but it's going to be loud and disruptive. And they said, no, we want to be a part of that. So they exercised their right to renew in the lease. Now I'm dealing with the backlash. Like, hey, remember when I talked about, remember that piece that I was very upfront about? So, I get it though. You still have to conduct business. So we're trying to make it work any way we can.
How many apartments will it be?
9 luxury apartments.
Sure. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, if you think so you probably live in a house and you've got a grill, you've got a yard, and you have, all the things that you want for your life, a heated garage, all those things. So we're offering as much of that urban living as you possibly can have, or suburban living in an urban settings. Luxury means a little bit of different stuff to different people. Younger generation, you like maybe mesh Wi-Fi. So because we're an office building that has data centers, we have the ability to offer a true fiber network. It's a gig of fiber, and we're putting a mesh system in. And so we're putting infrastructure that's several $100,000 in mesh. I use the term mesh. It's called managed Wi-Fi really, but you'll be able to go from your apartment to the lobby to the pool with your laptop on a Zoom call or whatever and not drop signal because we're going to have this mesh everywhere. And it's a true gig of fiber. Yeah. So we're not going to draw down from that. There's not going to be each individual apartment has that. Waterfall, hard surface islands in the 2 bedrooms, 8-foot doors, solid core doors. We're putting mineral wool in the walls, which is a much higher insulation for sound baffling with between tenants. We're a 3.5-inch concrete floor, deck to deck. So we have a lot more soundproofing there. We're adding operable windows to the tune of $1.5 million. So every suite is going to have at least one 4-inch tilt out window so you can get that fresh air. 11-foot ceilings. We're spending a lot of extra money to add. Well, you'll have bulkheads and all that, but then it'll actually tray up and have a tray ceiling. Yep. So you have this 11-foot, really vast ceiling in some of the bedrooms, depending on where you're located on the window line, and in all of the living rooms will have that. High-end appliances, washer and dryer in unit, ventless, but they're the new generation of ventless that are pretty energy efficient as much as they can be. We had bones of a building. We had men's and women's restroom on every floor. What do you do with that? You can't make an apartment out of it. We turn it into a trash and a utility room because who wants to take the trash through the elevator, through the hallway, down and outside? You just take it, you put it in this bin. We already have cleaners on the upper floors cleaning at night. Yeah. Well, they're just going to come down, grab a bin, change it out to a new bin, dump the trash, clean it out. The next day it's rinse and repeat. So we're adding that. Another luxury item that I don't know anyone else being able to replicate is a 24-hour security person. Because we already have to have that in our leases for our commercial tenants, we're just turning that into more of a concierge person. So we're going to train them on more customer service. Yeah. We're adding another person that will sit at that front desk from 6 a.m. till probably 8 p.m, maybe even midnight. It's going to be our manager for a certain shift. And so if you need that little layer of, hey, I lost my key, I don't have to have an extra employee. I just move one of my employees to that desk. So it's someone who is intimately knowledgeable about all of our systems, how to make cards, and it's all a digital key. So you can do it on your phone or you have a little key card. So our parking, we have 1,600 stalls. You want to park in the building, heated underground? Yeah, it's going to come at a price, but you have that option.
Right.
If you don't drive very much, you don't care, you park across the street for way cheaper or way down the road and even cheaper still. And we still monitor those with 24-hour cameras and security patrol. So we're just really trying to make that user experience. Everybody's spending this amount of money to live, right? Whatever that it means for you, while you're dry cleaning, your dog walking, your car detailing, your house cleaning, all those things you probably already pay for. We're just trying to make it easier on you to be able to book them very easily in our system. We use Yardi through a client cafe portal. You go log in. You could book a conference room if you're working from home and you need a separate space. You want to get your dog walked? We're going to partner with a dog walking company. You want to get your car detailed? Hey, Tommy's or Mr. Car Wash or someone that wants to come and do it, leave your keys at the concierge. We'll have it taken care of for you. And you can pay for it all online, seamless one transaction. And then you don't have to say you want to book a cleaning of your apartment. Grandma's coming over for Christmas. You go book it. We tell you what you need to do. Make sure your dishes are picked up. Make sure you're whatever. We'll come in. We'll clean these items. Pay for it right now. And you book it. You don't have to wait for a cleaning lady. Give her a code to come in or a guy. It's just easy lock and leave living is what we're looking for. That highly amenitized. So you pay a little more maybe, right? But in the grand scheme of things, it's just your net neutral. You're just giving it to us to manage your life and your lifestyle versus piecemealing it out to a bunch of different people and running around and killing your time.
Yeah. Or you hit it on the right of the head there. Killing your time.
What's your time worth?
Yeah. You're spending the time to do, if you're doing it, you're the person.
Yeah. What's your time worth?
What is your time worth?
Yeah. A lot of people are downsizing to get their time back because they're tired of mowing the lawn, right. Whatever. So they want to try us for a couple of years. You want to sell your house, buy a place in Tucson and have an apartment here? Great. We'd love to have you for a couple of years. I think we're going to prove that it's so easy to live downtown with the Civic Center. And I mean, just the ballpark, the Icon water shows, everything. Downtown is the amenity to the metro. That's like my catchphrase these days because people always say, wow, what's there really to do in downtown? I'm like, think about everything fun that you do. You probably go downtown for it. And people think they're like, oh, you're right. Yeah, all the shows, farmers market, everything is downtown. If you want to drive around and waste your day, that's fine, But if you want to live there, why not offer a very luxurious product for those people that can't afford it? And again, we're not pricing ourselves out of the market. We're just, if a studio is $900 across the street, we're $975. So we're just at the top of that. And then we're going to offer an amenity package. You'll pay for that extra, but it's going to be an amenity package that is still cheaper than if you went out and sourced it all yourself. So we're just adding value.
Well, you've got amenities that are included. You've got
so full service gym. This thing is insane.
Right.
And we're partnering with the YMCA to offer some sort of a package where if you move in, you get a certain amount of freebies from the Y. It could be, don't quote me here, but let's say 3 months free rent at the Y or a month and a half or whatever. And then if you want to continue that, if you're a serious athlete or whatever, you're already signed up. You got your months free. You're happy. If you don't and you just want to use our gym, it's a first class gym, but it's not a lunk gym. You're not coming in to squat and bench and swim. You're using it for more of that odd workout. There's Peloton and the lifestyle gym, I call it, but it's super high end. If that's what you're looking for, we have it. It's all included.
When do you expect to be finished? When are these going to market?
The golf simulator, the pool, all the amenities, the fitness center, you name it, that will all be done in March, April of 26. We'll have about 20 suites at that time that are on that low three floors. They'll be done at that time. So we'll start pre-leasing a little, maybe February to lease those up, maybe January. People can move in at that time, but you got to live through a little bit of little chaos because Walnut's still going to be closed until July. By the July timeframe, we'll have all of the suites, maybe August, done and move-in ready. So we'll kind of have this phase 1, phase 2 approach. Amenities, first, second, third floor done in March. And then by July, the rest will be done. Yeah. About an 18-month build cycle from start to finish.
It's fun, isn't it, when the demo gets done and you're like, cool, now we can turn the tide.
Yeah. I actually I was walking yesterday with the Des Moines Register, walking through our demo or our model units. We're testing things like the floor, the cabinets, because you dream these things up, but until they're actually in, you don't know what they're going to look like. Right. And I'm blown away. We're using a really high-end Walnut product for the cabinetry, those high ceilings, the flooring, everything is just, it's incredible. When you put an 8-foot door in versus a 7-foot, you don't really know the difference, but it makes those ceilings seem way higher when you're actually in it.
Listen,
and it's more expensive.
When you're nearly 6.5 a man.
You're not ducking. Yeah, unless you're Peter Jaquez, you might still be ducking under some of those doors. That guy.
That is true. Yeah, absolutely right. Well, this is a heck of a project. It's a lot of years, tremendous amount of time, energy, and effort that goes into execute something like this.
And it's my first development, personally.
Is that right?
Yeah. Mine, not Mark's. He's had his own, but when you're doing it,
it's your baby.
I'm getting my PhD in this. It's like I said, I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it, but when you have the ability to surround yourself with the people that can do it, it's incredible. And I have a really, really good staff of coworkers that I got to say they've dug in. They're all in on it. And they're giving everything they can because there's chaos thrown at you all day long, and they're troopers. Don't get me wrong. We're stressed out. We're flying, but everybody's got the same vision. And I think that has been kind of our secret sauce, is sitting down and just having conversations with people. Hey, here's what's coming. What can you offer? What's going on in your life that I need to be sensitive to? Because if you're not able to handle this, how can I work around that to make your life a priority for me? And that's really what I try to do, is put other people first so that I can realize, okay, this person's going through this. I need to make sure I'm sensitive to that, so I don't freak out on them when they're, doing this. And that has really worked well for us. We're all just living life together, man.
If you're a house flipper, execute the BRRRR strategy, or do double closings and are in need of money, Little Guy Loans is your go-to lender here in the Des Moines area. Time is money. Loan approvals in 24 hours. Closings in 5 days. Little Guy Loans was founded by Neil Timmins, an investor just like you. Since he has been in over 10,000 homes in Des Moines, there's never an appraisal. Houses, multifamily, and commercial property loans up to $1 million. Check out www.littleguyloans.com.
Every building is a business plan.
It is.
Business in and of itself. Fast forward the period of time from now. All 209 apartments are leased up. That baby is done.
Cranking.
What's the business plan? What happens with the asset?
Well, as you know, you have to hold for at least 5 years for any federal tax credit product. So you have what's, for lack of a better term, a partner that you put on it. They take those tax credits, they utilize them, you sell them to them. So they have to be a partner. You have to hold that for 5 years. Beyond that, we hope to make it a legacy property. I don't know. It's two partners, Mark and Lawrence. Lawrence, Lawmark. Lawrence is the money guy. Mark's the managing partner. They both live in Canada. Who knows? It's their call. My decision is just to do what's best. I would love to see us manage some third-party product in the future. I'd love to see us buy some distressed assets and turn them into apartments. Maybe do a greenfield project. I think there's some opportunity for that in downtown. Now that we have all of the systems in place, or we're creating them, it would be kind of foolish and squandering a talent to not do that. So probably 2.0 is going to be that management piece, doing it well. And I think if you look at a lot of these real estate companies, that's how they started. I think there's the bones for something really, really a legacy here in both real estate management, and then also, you dispose of assets as they're completed and someone else needs it. You sell it to them, you sell it at a good price, you buy something else. So we've got a long-term venture holding.
Can you see yourself out of Des Moines proper into some of the suburbs with the repositioning of office to apartments? Or
it would have to be really compelling. Probably not. We've found that, like everything, location. We love downtown. I feel that I'm very bullish on downtown right now. During COVID, everyone went to the suburbs. You got a new generation graduating. Do you really graduate college and say, gee, I want to move to West Des Moines and live in an apartment by Jordan Creek Mall? Not anymore. I think they want to live in that urban setting.
And work from it.
Yeah. It's tough, right?
Right.
So we have a new generation coming out of college that wants to be in the office. It's a resounding answer when you ask them. They want to be in office because they want to learn. They've never had a real job before. They want to work with mentors. And I think a lot of these people are going to bypass kind of the people my age that don't want to be in the office. They're going to leap over them from a management standpoint because they're going to be rubbing elbows with the CEOs and the CFOs. They never would have had a chance for that prior to COVID. You're going to see it now.
To get to the C-suite, you need FaceTime.
Absolutely. Yeah. To do your job, maybe not, but let's look at the big picture. How much intangible stuff did you learn from your mentors?
That's right.
Just being around them. Right. Almost everything for me.
Well, that's why we were at the Commercial Real Estate Expo the other day. That's why when you go to things like that, they always say it's all the thing. The business gets done at the bar.
Absolutely.
It's all after hours. You can learn all you want during.
Yeah, sure. That's a good foundation.
Yes, no doubt about it.
The deals happen. I ran into a guy, case in point, I'll remain nameless. I said, hey, you got that building? What's going on? He said, do you want to buy it? I said, yeah, let's talk. I ran into him there and it just sparked something in my head. You have to be face-to-face. We are designed that way. Yep. Now, you're inbound IT for some company out of India and you're in the US. I get it, work from home, yep. But you got to still have a well-rounded life, right? Not every job should be in the office, but if you want to move up the food chain in any organization, I think you have to be in the office or at least interacting with people. But you also have to have a work-life balance. I respect that. I work from homes in the morning and then I go in after the kids are out of the house and all that. but I got a nice home office. Not everybody can do that. But where I was going with that is we have not delivered in the Skywalk district of downtown. To my knowledge, that CBD, we're calling it Central Business District, has not delivered one apartment since the Edna Griffin building that Tim Ritma did in 2021, was it? And that was like 35 units. You had the RT Lofts, the Fleming or the Des Moines building, go down the list, all delivered. And then there was this huge lull. The demand didn't go away. The demand just shifted to, the East Village, the Cityville, or whatever Hubble's doing there, Gray's Landing, excuse me. They went to West. They went anywhere they could because there was no offering. I think as we bring the supply back, you're going to see the first wave. I think we're going to probably get a lot of the people that have lived in their space for a while. They're just ready for a change. They got good credit. They can move wherever they want. They're going to get their pick wherever they want to go. You're going to get some new product. We're going to be fine. We got a lot of product being delivered. That's usually the first question people, my friends included, ask me, my own wife, can downtown support all this? When you've had zero supply for so many years and that demand is waiting, you're going to get it back. It might take a year or two to get that demand filled or the supply filled, but I think I'm very bullish on how fast we're going to lease up. And the tower, the 515 tower, I think I saw an article today with Joe Teeling being commented on. I met with him the other day. I'm all for it. They're not offering amenities in their space. They're bringing 400 apartments. They're just saying, hey, downtown's your amenity. Go nuts. So I'm loving that because they're going to park with me. They're going to eat in my eatery. They're going to live in the Walnut Loop, which is the neighborhood we created. Nick with Hello Marjorie and the partnership and all the kind of stakeholders in this Mulberry to Locust, 5th to 8th block. We said, what can we do to make a true neighborhood, a node that people want to live in? So that's what we've created. We hired P7 to do a logo for us and design, and we're just going to embrace it. It's not going to be an HOA. It's just going to be an affiliated neighborhood of like-minded people that love to work and play and live all in the big tower district, that Skywalk area.
If you can get the neighborhood to win, everybody wins.
Everybody wins. So I said a high tide raises all ships. I'm hopeful that Ruan completes their project after Teeling, because I ran into John Ford the other day. He was delivering papers to Bellin or something. I don't know. And he's just such a nice guy. And I said, John, when's the date? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's a couple years out, but we're going to do it. So I don't think there's any reason they won't. Right. I'm very, very positive that they can afford it.
Sure.
So you got 3 major developments. I think there's going to be room for more, because once you start adding some activity, it creates a new vibe and vibrancy. People want to be around that. It's momentum. It's all momentum.
People are attracted to momentum.
They are.
You get things rowing in the right direction, and it seems like, as we record this, we're just coming up on the Fed meeting. It's just days away. It seems like we're going to get a rate cut. How big, who knows? But rates are also, seems like we're going to get some momentum on the downward side.
And we're getting used to inflation. I think I sat in the real estate expo and they talked about, is 3% the new 2% inflation? I mean, it's probably true, but look how flat it was for so long. It was 30 years of flat. In Walmart, they made everything in-house. It was all America made. And what they do, they start outsourcing that curbed inflation for so long. And everybody was that way. It was technology. It just, everything kept it flat. All of a sudden we have this huge spikes during COVID. I think AI is going to help us keep it a little more flat.
Deflationary pressure.
Yeah, right. And I'm no economist, but this all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I listen to the demographers more than anything. I love those demographers have it figured out in my mind.
It makes it, because it's so simplistic.
It is.
Right? On the supply and demand side of things to go, which ways it seems like we're headed.
Yeah, where are the trends?
Correct. From a Des Moines standpoint, the trends are headed in very positive fashion.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have been the benefactor for many years, and it seems like, again, momentum's on our side.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep rolling. Well,
and that's one of the reasons to talk a little bit about investing in Iowa. Your show here is, you have 2 Canadians that have invested in Iowa. They looked at it, and it's similar to other Midwest markets. I'm like, well, there's no traffic. It's got a good insurance base. The cost of living is relatively low. We're paying 20% less on average for housing than other similar cities or other metros. So we got a lot of room there. Even if there is some bumps, we can figure it out. Maybe you're getting your Eat Foodie deliveries less often, but you're still going to use Eat Foodie to get your stuff delivered.
Jesse, you ready for the final 3 questions?
Absolutely.
If you had one piece of advice for your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
Keep plugging away. I've had to restart a couple times with starting real estate was really hard for me. I was working half days, 12 hours, 5, 6, 7 days a week.
I get it. Half the day.
And it wore me out. Then I did something else and did something else. And now I'm back here. And also, you never know what's going to lead to something else too. So keep doing the right thing. One of the most humbling jobs I ever had was when I moved to Des Moines, had to take a job at Chick-fil-A. Not that there's anything wrong with Chick-fil-A, but it was a marketing job. I made $10 an hour. Humbling to have a college degree, come off on real estate, doing real estate, owning a company, to doing social media and great people, best training. The culture there is unparalleled. I think you know that. I learned more from that $10 an hour job. And more than anything, it made me more money because I met a ton of good people that wanted to work with and align with Chick-fil-A. So if you align yourself with the right people, other people will see that. So I just joined boards, and I joined as many as I could possibly handle with a young family. I'm still on 3 of the boards: Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Best Buddies Iowa, and Meals from the Heartland, that I joined when I was first into town. And that's been my secret sauce, is just keep doing the right thing and keep plugging away. And eventually you look back and you're like, how did I get here? This is incredible. Never could have dreamed it.
2 books that changed your life:
The E-Myth and the Bible.
If you were cast away on an island for a year, you can only get 3 pieces of data about your business each and every month. What 3 things must you know every month to know how your business is running?
How are my people doing? So that piece of data, can we have that? What's their stress? What's their stress level? That's usually my first parameter, is how we doing that way. Another piece of data for our business would be, what's our food court looking like? We've got this eatery, this food hall. How many people are coming down there? That's a really good barometer for how downtown as a whole is doing. If a lot of people are eating, economy's good, people are in the office. So that's another good one for just this particular business. And then the last one, is there anybody parking on the rooftop of my parking structures?
The idea being there, it's the last one. It's the last space that gets
parked on. If I have people on my rooftop, I know things are good, because I can oversell my spaces by 20%, because on any given day, 20% of the workforce doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Vacation, PTO. So if I'm full on that rooftop, I know I've reached my max. So if I'm calling in, how are my people doing? What's the eatery doing, or the food hall? And then how's my rooftop look?
Jesse Fast, lots of questions. This has been fantastic conversation. I know all of us got an education on what's going on downtown, certainly with your project. I'm appreciative of that. What's one question I did not ask that I should have asked?
Maybe how we came up with the name Mezzo on Walnut. That's a fun.
Yes, let's do it.
So Mezzo meaning kind of the middle. It's Italian word for middle, a center. And we really wanted to have a centric based building. We're at kind of the corner of Main and Main. And when we decided to name the property, we wanted to keep that fabric in it. We were talking about the bank, because it's always been a bank. You had these financial institutions coming in. But when we hired P7 to do this kind of mood board and brainstorm, this just stood out. I think I was quoted in the business record of that. It was a very shocking, surprising, like, wow, you can say it 2 ways. You can say it Mezzo on Walnut. That flows a little better. It's a little more tingly, but the correct is probably mezzo soprano. It's that person in the middle. And we really want to be that for everyone. We want to be that kind of that center of what all is happening downtown. So I don't know if that's a good answer.
It's a great story. I always wondered how people land on certain names, right?
Yeah.
No, that's great. Jesse, for people that want to find you, follow you, connect with you, learn more about the project, where can they go? What should they do?
So you can go to mezzoonwalnut.com, and you can sign up for just the ticklers as we put them out. If you want to sign up for that, that's great. I'm probably the easiest guy in the world to get a hold of. You just type Bunney in the internet, and I'm probably my face is going to come up. You're going to see all the pictures. I couldn't go in witness protection if I wanted to ever. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Hell, you can text me, whatever you want. I'm easy to find. And right now, as a general manager, I'm trying to give duties to my team as much as I can, but I love kind of that sales first, relationship driven, interaction is what I want. So I do most of the interviews, most of the kind of that interfacing, just because I really enjoy it. And I love meeting people, and I'm super curious.
Well, the links are below in the show notes for everybody. Jesse, I appreciate you taking the time to connect.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, may I ask a favor of you? Naturally, subscribe so you never miss an episode. But would you rate and leave an honest written review on Apple Podcasts? It does a lot for us here at the show, and I appreciate reading your thoughts. Great guests make for a great show. If you know of another Iowan who would be a great guest, or you yourself have interest in being a guest, well, get on our radar. Visit Investing in Iowa to fill out an application or recommend a guest. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one, go to legacy reimaginingImpactInvestors.com. Click on the Invest With Us button in the top right corner, and there you can pick a time for the two of us to get on the calendar and connect. Until next time, keep investing in Iowa.